Hello YouTube, it's Eso here, and just have another video. Sorry about the audio quality right now. I'm still using the old microphone that doesn't really work very well. But anyway, so I watched the film theory episode. I'll put a link in the description, produced by Matthew Patrick, Matt Pat as everybody knows him. The video was about Doctor Strange, the movie, or more accurately, the trailer. I have seen the movie and it was enjoyable, and I recommend it to anybody else who is into Marvel or science and magic and fiction in general. That said, Matt Pat's look at the trailer got me thinking. Some about my own fictional worlds and universe and my creative endeavors, but mainly about Doctor Strange and how the magic/science is sort of a dichotomy. However, I will get to talking to about my own stuff and my own thoughts about my own material in another video. For right now, I'm going to respond to what Matt Pat said about Doctor Strange. Okay, so he starts off talking about quantum mechanics, which I've heard of a lot, but I am by no means well read on the topic. The tiny 101 bit that he gives interesting, and the notion of the fundamental laws of nature and exception to those laws of nature is quite interesting. It makes the laws seem less like absolutes and more like general guidelines that describe the norm, but not extreme cases. He then starts talking about light and its wave-particle duality. That's something we all know. It's something Einstein pointed out, and it brings up the notion of different laws being in place for certain times and then being completely absent in other times, or rather not absent but just not applicable. No one can hear you scream in space because there is no medium, no particles for your screams to vibrate through the air and travel through. They might seem very random in my video, but it's just something that came to mind when I was watching his. But anyway, light is Doctor Strange's weapon, not just for offense, but for utility. Matt Pat talks about light's ability to exert force, and he brings up the design of the solar sails, which basically are these giant these sails that pushed by the solar winds and allows a ship to reach really, really high speeds. I think in some ways it can get to like 1% the speed of light or faster, depending on the object that they're trying to propel. But he also talks about photophoresis, the photophoresis effect, what I had no clue about, which basically describes light heating up particles. I mean, I knew that light heats up particles, but I didn't know it was called the photophoresis effect. And this gets the molecules excited on one side and can push them to do things, because it's on one side is heated and interacting and being active. The other side is colder than that side, so it pushes them and makes it can do things. Matt Pat also moves on to talk about objects that are created by light, essentially light with mass, or hard light, as some fictional universes call it. When I think about hard light, I think about Halo or Steven Universe. The crystal gems in Steven Universe, they're sentient gems with bodies composed of hard light projections. It's very science fiction. It's often like magic in fantasy fiction will do the same thing too. Balls of light with mass hurled at foes, like magic missile in D&D. That's hard light. It's a shimmering orb of force. Like I think the wall of force is invisible, but like there's some spells that are magic, but they're really just hard packages of light that you do things with. Matt Pat goes on to talk about crystals and shaping perceptions, something that's incredibly useful in realistic magic. I mean, you don't have to change the world around you if you can just change the human who's perceiving the world. That's one way to make magic less bizarre and more realistic, because human perception is flawed and limited, and it's very easy to twist. That's how magicians do it. They change they prey on our perception. Maybe not prey, that's kind of predatory and mean, but, well, some are mean, but more, they get us to think one thing and think we're in control, and then we're really not. We're missing what they're actually doing. That's what sleight of hand is all about. Anyway, I don't really have anything to say about fractals. I do like fractals. MatPat mentions these and has a whole bunch of things when they're talking about crystals and refraction, but I don't really have any comments other than it's great imagery. My largest complaint with, or my issue of, is a question of how. I get that they're using this technology. Like MatPat is basically saying there is no magic in Doctor Strange. It's all technology, like the quantum mechanics, the light, the hard light, the fractals. But for me, they're using this with their bare hands. It's not like they have, like, the sling ring. Spoiler alert. Well, kind of after the fact. Anyway, there's a device called the sling ring, and it's used for teleportation. But the rest of the magic science that's conducted is using their hands. It's not that they have this device giving them these powers. How is that not magic? They wave their wrist, and things happen. How is that not magic? I mean, in some settings, wizards and sorcerers have genetic abilities, or, like, they're basically mutants in some settings. In others, they have device-based powers, like with the wand, and well, sometimes they just do it with their hands too in Harry Potter. But humans don't innately have those. So what mechanism are they utilizing to do those abilities? Isn't that magic? So maybe there is still magic in Doctor Strange. I'm not quite sure. It's probably obviously something that has a scientific explanation that we don't understand yet. But for me, that's something that's not explained very well. What is the scientific explanation behind the training that Doctor Strange undergoes to get his powers? I mean, I don't know. I may be just looking too deeply into it, but that's how I think. How is he able to harness this science with nothing but his bare hands? To me, how he harnesses the science is just as important as what science is being harnessed to produce these effects. But anyway, that's just me. That's this video. I'll see you later, YouTube. Bye bye.